We incorporate the availability heuristic when we judge the likelihood of an event occurring on the basis of how easily experiences related to the event can be recalled from memory. The experiences that are more accessible or available in our minds are more likely to affect our decisions. The ongoing evaluation and study of the availability heuristic is crucial to psychology because it explains the motivation behind much of our decision-making. In the real world, we apply the availability heuristic when we form biases and when we consider buying a product. If the recall of available information is relatively easy, then the implications of the recalled information are solidified. Furthermore, the implications of the ease of recalled information are opposite from, and in some cases more significant than, the content of the recalled information. The availability heuristic explains why most people are fearful of dying in a plane crash rather than dying in a car accident. In reality, dying in a car accident is much more likely to happen. However, plane crashes set off media frenzies, which causes the thought that planes are likely to crash to become available in the mind. Relying on the availability heuristic in decision-making can lead to the formation of biases, which can cloud our judgment. An experiment that accurately shows the typical research about the availability heuristic is the effect of imagining an event on expectations for the event, an interpretation in terms of the availability heuristic, which was done by John Carroll in 1976. This experiment was comprised of two studies that tested whether or not hypothetical events seem more likely to occur if they are easier to imagine. In the first study, participants were given questionnaires about the 1976 presidential election between Jimmy Carter and Gerald Ford. Both the experimental and control groups were asked who they preferred in the election and who they thought would actually win. The experimental group was asked to imagine themselves on the night before the election and was presented with two hypothetical scenarios, one in which Carter won and one in which Ford won. The participants who imagined that Carter would win the election believed that Carter would actually win, and vice versa. These results proved significant. Just like in Study 1, in Study 2, participants were also given questionnaires. This questionnaire featured questions about the upcoming 1977 football season of the University of Pittsburgh, who was the 1976 college football champion. Participants were asked to estimate how many games Pitt would win, lose, or tie, and then to predict if they would be invited to a major, minor, or no bowl game. The experimental group was asked to imagine a hypothetical scenario before answering the questions, one in which Pitt won all 11 season games, and the other in which they only won 7. Those who imagined Pitt have a good season predicted that they would be offered a major bowl bid, and vice versa. Good, the Cheez-It aisle. Gosh, they have so many kinds. How am I supposed to choose? Well, I definitely know I'm not going to choose the spicy kind because last time I had those, they burned my mouth. And I've never really forgotten that. And I really don't like spicy foods now. So, original or white cheddar? I did just see that news story about how they had to recall all the white cheddar Cheez-Its because of bug eggs. And I don't really want to risk that. I guess I'll just go with the original because that's what I always get and I've never really had any problems with them. Our skit clearly demonstrates how the availability heuristic influences consumers' perceived risk when buying a product. In this case, the consumer believes the product is more likely to fail because they have personally experienced a failure and because they saw a story on the news. Since it was really easy for the consumer to recall these events, she believed that failure was more likely.